Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of my team selector ahead of the game against Sheffield United tomorrow in the Premier League. Chance for Chelsea to really round off this period of for me, what has been improvement, development, especially defensive improvement under Frank Lampard. And that sense of balance now within the team that we didn't see in the opening games of the season, but we seem to now have, which hopefully we'll see again tomorrow at the Bridge. I feel with this game, Sheffield United, I think people will underestimate Sheffield United naturally based on the Premier League table so far, and Frank Lampard stressed as much in his pre-match press conference. Just because Sheffield United are 19th, they're yet to win a Premier League game this season. Chelsea should know, based on Sheffield United's last Premier League win back in July in the previous season, that 3-0 defeat at Bramall Lane, how dangerous this team can be. So they need to be aware of that going into this game. Just because we played well recently, it's going to be a battle out there. It's going to be a tough test. And if you watch Sheffield United against both Man City and Liverpool in the previous two Premier League games, they gave them both a test. So it's going to be a challenge for Chelsea, absolutely. But going into team news, big team news tomorrow, Kai Havertz, of course, we knew already would not be available for this game after testing positive for COVID-19. Unfortunately as well, Christian Pulisic won't be ready for this game after Frank seemed pretty optimistic in his pre-match press conference for Rennes, but it seems that Pulisic now has a setback to that. He hasn't really been training with the group in recent days. So that's frustration, I'm sure, for Pulisic, of course, for Chelsea as well, in terms of squad depth and looking at the strength in the team and wanting him in our best 11. The concern on top of that was he was named in the US national team for the international break. So I don't know if that will change now based on Frank Lampard's comments and his fitness. We hope if he's not having, any international games, he isn't travelling anywhere, he can recover and maybe be ready for the Newcastle game following that international break. But as I said, Sheffield United have struggled so far this season, yet to win a Premier League game, puts them in 19th with only 1 point from their opening 7 games, scoring 3 and conceding 10. Very much expect Chris Wilder's 5-3-2 overlapping centre-backs. Of course, the intriguing thing from a Chelsea fan perspective, looking at Sheffield United this season, is the development and minutes of Ethan Ampadu under Chris Wilder. He started to play in that DM role after fitting in a back three so far, but he's been shifted a little bit further forward now to that DM role where I think many expect him to thrive in his career. So it'll be interesting to see. Of course, not tomorrow. He won't be getting any minutes tomorrow against his parent club, but still seeing that development this season, seeing how he grows in the Premier League under a good coach, I think it'll be big for his development. But going into this game and looking at Chelsea can make it 4 wins in a row in all competitions and 6 clean sheets in a row. That just marks the defensive improvement. And it's been over 8 hours since we last conceded a goal. Switching play intelligently for me is the big thing tomorrow. Like we saw against Burnley, like we saw against Rennes, when you play against a low block, especially Burnley is more relevant to this, you have to switch play intelligently. Chelsea are expected to have a lot of the ball. Sheffield United are not going to open up. They're not going to play a high pressing game against Chelsea, and it's on the midfielders, especially the deeper midfielders, to really find that vision, especially Mason Mount. Mason Mount was incredible against Burnley, so let's hope he's on fine form again, because that was such a key for Chelsea. Finding the width of Ben Chilwell and Reece James was key as well to Chelsea's attacks, so I think that'll be another thing to look out for tomorrow. And also dealing with the overlapping centre-backs of Sheffield United. I mean, that's something we did not deal with at all against them in July, and especially that centre-back pairing being out-muscled. Now, of course, Kurt Zouma and Thiago Silva hopefully will fare a lot better tomorrow, because they have fared well recently for Chelsea. But going into this game, and the 4-3-3 I think will be the formation once again. I don't see Frank changing it. I don't see why he would change it. You could be radical and say, why doesn't he match up Sheffield United? But I don't think Chelsea should be doing that at the moment. I don't think it's that sort of game. Yes, there will be a challenge, but I think Frank should stick with the formation that has worked the previous 3 games, and that is the 4-3-3. So I think Mendy, of course, is in goal, and we know the back 4 right now, and that's the brilliant thing. You can name the back 5, the goalkeeper and the 4 defenders: Reece James, Thiago Silva, Kurt Zouma and Ben Chilwell. And just looking at the numbers, especially of that centre-back pairing of Kurt Zouma and Thiago Silva, when they've started together so far this season, a 4-0 win against Crystal Palace, 0-0s against Sevilla and Manchester United, 3-0 against Rennes and 3-0 against Burnley. So it's been so emphatic. They've been so dominant, and the chemistry there is so great to see. And along with that, the fullback play, which has become so important, not only for Chelsea's attacking play, but also our defence. Reece James and Ben Chilwell having brilliant games against Rennes and, of course, Burnley as well. So they're so key as well. The midfield 3, I was torn on this, to be honest. I feel that Frank will go with the same midfield 3 that started against Rennes in midweek: Jorginho, Kante and Mason Mount. I feel conflicted just in the sense that if Frank wanted to play Kante as that lone DM again, What it could do is shift Ziyech into a number 8 position potentially, and maybe play Callum Hudson-Odoi as one of the wingers, probably on the right of a front three. I don't think he'll do that, but that's an interesting take and an interesting thing with the versatility of Hakim Ziyech, that you can do that potentially, especially when he's drifting into central positions and he's so natural to do that. You know, he's not going to hug the touchline as a winger. He's much more comfortable coming in from the right into a more central area. And I think maybe that's something Frank could opt for. I don't expect him to. I think Frank is a coach, as many coaches will stick to something that works. So I think the midfield three that started on Wednesday will be starting again on Saturday. I just think it's very important that Jorginho is much more daring and much more creative on the ball. He has to switch play intelligently. He hasn't been doing that recently. That's what you put him in the team for, you know, that creative play, that regista, that someone who can be the metronome to control a game. I haven't seen that recently from Jorginho, and if he wants to stay in this team in the long term, he has to do that for me tomorrow if he is selected. So I think he will be alongside Kante and Mason Mount. The two wide players, pretty much the same, of course, Hakim Ziyech and Timo Werner. There is an argument to rest Werner, but I think it's an important Premier League game. He's in good goal scoring form. If you get a penalty, you know he's taking it now. So Timo, I think, will be starting once again. And up front, Tammy Abraham. And let's look at the stats of Tammy Abraham, because he has impressed recently for Chelsea. In his last 448 minutes played, he has 3 goals and 5 assists, a goal contribution every 56 minutes. He's proven people wrong, and it's great to see, and I think Tammy will stay in the team. And as we saw last week, setting up Hakim Ziyech, he's maybe playing a little bit deeper to help elevate the other attackers within the team, which is what Lampard wants and what a top Chelsea striker should be doing. It's not just about scoring goals, being in the box, it's also about your all-round play, your hold-up play, and that's what Tammy is doing so well. So I think he'll be starting once again. But that is my team for the game tomorrow. Please let me know your lineups in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonofChelsea, and I'll see you again.